I got to start with a little confession here. I got to come clean. I got to give you all the truth. I have a problem, all right? I got a problem that I need to tell you all about. Dare I say, an addiction, and I know that sounds bad, but it's true. Every night before I go to bed, I lay down and I tell myself, don't get on your phone. Don't do it. Don't look at your phone. But then I let that little voice inside me say, but just check Instagram one more time. Just check the score one more time. You know what I'm talking about? Like you tell yourself, like, I'm just going to look at one TikTok, or I'm going to like spend 5 minutes on TikTok. And then you look and you're like, oh my gosh, it's been an hour and a half. All right, that's me. Every night I do this because my wife takes forever to get ready for bed. All right, and so I'm like in bed, ready to go, ready to sleep. And she's in there like taking her makeup off, whatever. And so I sit there and I tell myself like, okay, take the proper measures to make sure you don't do this. All right, I've got a book right next to bed. I like the book. I always tell myself I'm going to read the book. But then there's my phone. And y'all, we know what's wrong about this, right? Like, you've heard the people say that if you look at your phone, it messes up your sleep, messes with your eyes, makes your brain think that you're more awake than you actually are. And yet, for whatever reason, I always grab for the phone. And y'all, I think we have more areas in our life that are like this, something that we know that we need to do, all right? I know that I need to read my book instead of looking at my phone if I want to get a better night's sleep. But yet, for some reason, I just keep looking at my phone before I go to bed. And there's a lot of things in our life like that, where we know what we need to do, but for some reason, we just don't. And that's what we're going to talk about today, and we're going to dive right into Scripture. All right, today we're going to be in the book of Exodus. So Exodus, New Testament, Old Testament. Old Testament, very good. We got Genesis, first book, Exodus, second book. All right, and Exodus is all about the Israelites escaping from captivity in Egypt, right? Does that story sound a little familiar to you? So the Israelites were in captivity. They were the slaves of the Egyptians, all right? And this story is all about a man named Moses, all right? Do we know the name Moses? Have we heard that before? Yes. All right, for just in case if you haven't, Moses was an Israelite. And one day Pharaoh said, there's too many Israelites here. There's too many Hebrews. They're going to rise up and they're going to overtake Egypt. And obviously Pharaoh doesn't want that, right? So he says, I want you to go out and kill all the babies here. Kill them all. And so Moses' mom puts him in a basket and floats him off in a river. And what do you know? Who picks him out of the river? But a member of Pharaoh's family. And she takes him in, and they actually raise him within the palace of Egypt, all right? So he's an Israelite, but he's being raised in Egypt, even within the palace. And as the story goes on, Moses finds himself into some trouble. He finds himself into some trouble, and he actually ends up getting kicked out. He runs away from the palace, and he becomes a shepherd with a new family. And one day, Moses is following a sheep that ran off. He follows the sheep up into a mountain. And when he finds the sheep, he sees something really peculiar. He sees this bush, right? It's burning, but it's not actually disintegrating. So it's on fire, but it's not really burning. You get the picture? You see what I'm saying? And if that wasn't crazy enough, then the bush starts talking to him, okay? And that bush was God. You've heard the story of the burning bush, maybe. It was God telling Moses, Moses, you are the person that's going to go back into Egypt to tell Pharaoh to free the Israelites. And that's where our story is going to pick up today, okay? We're going to be in Exodus chapter 4. I'm going to read it to you on the screen here. I want you to pay attention to what Moses says. Exodus 4, starting in verse 10. But Moses said to the Lord, my Lord, I've never been able to speak well. Not yesterday, not the day before, and certainly not now since you've been talking to your servant. I have a slow mouth and a thick tongue. Thick tongue, what a way to describe that, huh? Then the Lord said to him, who gives the people the ability to speak? Who's responsible for making them unable to speak or hard of hearing, sighted or blind? Isn't it I, the Lord? Now go, I'll help you speak, and I'll teach you what you should say. But Moses said, please, my Lord, just send someone else. Has that ever been you? You feel like God is calling you to do something, you just want to say, God, please, send someone else. I feel for Moses there. Then the Lord got angry at Moses and said, what about your brother Aaron the Levite? I know he can speak very well. He's on his way out to meet you now, and he's looking forward to seeing you. Speak to him and tell him what he's supposed to say. I'll help both of you speak, and I'll teach both of you what to do. Aaron will speak for you to the people. He'll be a spokesperson for you, and you will be like God for him. Take this shepherd's rod with you too, so that you can do the signs. So Moses is standing there in front of this burning bush, right? This burning bush is God. And God says, go and tell Pharaoh to let my people go. And Moses is like, well, I don't really want to. But I don't want to just because, Lord, I can't speak very well. He says, I'm not very good at communicating, and what you're having me do is go before Pharaoh, the most powerful person on this earth, and tell him what to do. Picture it this way. Imagine someone said to you, hey, you need to go talk to the president. You got to tell him what to do. You think you'd be so confident to do that? Now, it says here thick tongue, right? That's a weird way to say that. A lot of different translations say stutter. So, like, picture Moses having a stutter, like some sort of speech impediment. So he says, God, I don't think I'm your guy. I don't want to go in front of Pharaoh and demand things when I can't even speak very well. I've never been able to. And God says, all right, how about this? Here's what we're going to do. Your brother, Aaron, I know he can speak really well. You're going to have him go with you. And together, y'all are going to go before Pharaoh. And that is how my will be done. Now, we see Moses sort of in a different way than maybe a lot of us remember. If you just remember the general story of Exodus, the general story of Moses, you know that he's the person that goes before Pharaoh and says these things. You know that he's the person that leads the Israelites out of Egypt. You know that he's the person that leads them through the wilderness through all those years. But here we see a little bit of a different side of him. We see a very vulnerable side. And we can choose to look at that in a couple different ways, but I encourage you to look at that very positively. I think we need to give Moses a lot of credit here because Moses is doing something that a lot of us have a hard time doing. Moses does something here that we struggle with to do on a day-to-day basis. Moses admits that he needs help. He says, God, I need help doing this. If you're going to have me go in front of Pharaoh, I need someone to help me. He admits that he needs help. God puts someone in his life to help him, and then Moses accepts that help. And those are the two things I really want you to focus on and think about as we go through here. Moses asks for help, and then Moses accepts the help that God puts in front of him. And y'all, let's get real for 1 second before we dive even deeper. We struggle with this because we all at some level want to act like we have things figured out. At some level, we all want to act like we know what we're doing. And the truth is we don't. None of us do. We're all going through life figuring it out as we go, but we feel that we have to give the appearance to other people that we've got this thing figured out. And I think that's especially true for us as Christians. We think to ourselves, like, if I just have more faith, I can figure this out. If I just believe in God a little bit more, maybe this won't be so hard. Maybe I won't struggle. Then we start asking ourselves those bad questions of, well, what's wrong with me if I'm still having these problems? What's wrong with my faith? You know, I got a great example of this to show you. We're going to take a quick look at a movie that I'm sure many of y'all have seen. I want you to watch this short clip, and we're going to talk about it right after. Go ahead and play that clip for me. All right, that's a cute example. That's romantic and funny. But y'all, that is a perfect example of what we're talking about. That's a perfect example of what we see from Moses here. You see how reluctant Mr. Incredible is here to not only ask for help, but to accept the help that's being extended to him. It's only when his wife keeps pushing him over and over again, asking him, what's this all about? Why won't you let us help you? that he admits, he says, because I'm not strong enough. He says, I'm not strong enough. He wants to do it all on his own. And he thinks that there's some correlation between being strong and being able to do it on his own. We tend to think that those things are exclusive, that we can't be strong and reach out for help from those around us. And I think a lot of that has to do because that's what people have told us. At some point in our life, someone has said, you have to figure this out. You have to be stronger. You have to figure this out on your own, and that is a sign of your strength, your personal strength and ability. But y'all, that is not true. Maybe someone told you that. But who asked you, who told you that you have to be so strong to deal with some of these things on your own? Who told you that you have to be so strong to deal with your mental health on your own, with your depression on your own, with your eating disorder on your own, with the way that you look at your body alone? Who told you that you have to be so strong to do that all by yourself? But what I really want to draw your attention to, what is Miss Incredible? Is it Miss Incredible? Elastigirl? Oh, Elastigirl. Is it ever Miss Incredible? No? Whatever. His wife, Elastigirl. What does she say to him in response? When he says, I'm not strong enough, what does she say? She says, if we do this together, maybe you don't have to be. And y'all, yes, this is a cartoon movie, but how true is that? How real is that? That is so good. If we do this together, maybe you don't have to be so strong. And that is the very simple, very straightforward point that I want to make to y'all today. Very simply, that we are stronger together. If we do the things in our lives that we are struggling with, whatever that may be for you, whether it's something mental health related, the way you view yourself, your body, depression, anxiety, the stress of fitting in with the people around you, whatever that may be in your life, if we do these things together, mind, body, spirit, if we do those together, we'll be stronger than if we try to do them on our own. But here's what I find so funny about this. God never asked us to do these things on our own. At no point has God said that we have to suffer in silence, that we have to take on the things that we struggle with by ourselves. Nowhere does God say that to us. Yet for some reason we have it in our mind that we do. Y'all, think about it this way. What do we as Christians believe? What is the main point of our faith? Maybe I should ask it this way. Who do we believe in as Christians? Jesus Christ, right? It's right there in the name. And who was Jesus Christ? Or maybe more importantly, what did Jesus Christ do? Jesus Christ was God who took the form of a man, a carpenter from Nazareth. And he walked with us. All right, and he talked to us. He taught us things. He broke bread with us and ate with us. But he also was arrested. And he was beaten and abused. And he was hung on a cross to die. But what happened when he died on that cross and was resurrected? Jesus defeated death. Jesus overcame the sin that we have in our lives. He defeated evil on that cross. And y'all, if no one has ever told you this before, I will. We cannot do that on our own. No person throughout history was able to do that on their own. And if you don't believe me, I encourage you, just go look through the Old Testament. All it is stories of people trying to do things on their own, the Israelites trying to do it by themselves. And what they realize over and over and over again is that they need God. And the ultimate solution to that problem was Jesus Christ. The very basis of what we believe as Christians is to rely on someone else for things that we struggle with that we cannot handle on our own. And all of this just continues to reveal the very basic truth that we are stronger together. When we go through the things that we struggle with in life together, we are stronger than when we are alone. I'm reminded of the story that I heard once about this dad. He asked his son, he says, hey, you know that big rock in our backyard? So picture this big old rock, right? He's like, I need you to go move that for me, all right? Push it to the side. We're going to do some yard work, and I need that space there. So he says, I'm going to leave you here. I'll come back, and I'll check on you in a little bit. So the boy's sitting there, and he's looking at this rock. And it's a big rock, all right? So picture something big, weird edges to where you can't really grab something, and it's clearly been there a while because the grass is starting to come up around it. No one's touched it forever. And the boy tries everything. He tries pushing on it. He tries pulling on it. He wedges something down in there to try to lever it out. Nothing works. And the dad comes back out, and he's like, how's it going? And the boy's all bent over like this, right? He's like, I can't get it. He's all sweaty. The thing hasn't moved at all. And the dad looks at him, and he goes, He's like, well, did you use all your strength? And the boy looks at his dad, and he's like, yeah, Dad, look at me. I'm exhausted, all right? I'm sweating. I'm sore. This thing has not budged. Yes, I have used all of my strength. And the dad looks at him and he goes, no, I don't think you have used all your strength. He said, I know you haven't used all of your strength because not once have you asked me to help move this rock. Y'all, the point of that story is very simple. It's a very basic truth, but it's one that is timeless. It's one that is so important. The very truth that we don't have to struggle alone. Moving the rocks in our life, we don't have to go through that alone. That we use all of our strength when we go through those things together. When we ask for help and we accept the help that's being extended to us. The easy solution for Moses, or maybe for God, would be for God to say, okay, you got a problem talking? I will make you good at speaking. I'll fix your stutter. I'll fix your speech impediment, whatever it is. I'll fix it. Go ahead. Go to Pharaoh now. Now you're good to go. That would have been the easy thing to do, probably. But God doesn't do that. God takes the opportunity to show Moses the importance of leaning on other people, asking for help, and accepting it from the people who God puts in our lives to help us with those problems. Y'all, I already said it. This series, we're going to be talking about some pretty deep things. All right, really important things, though, because I think they're things that we all experience at some level. And maybe they're things that you haven't experienced yet. Maybe they're things that you will experience in the future. Maybe they're things that somebody that you love has experienced, someone close to you, someone in this room that you know is going through something. It's going to be a really important and hopefully really impactful series over the next few weeks. But none of that means anything. None of the things we learn or that we're going to talk about, none of them mean anything if we don't first establish that it is so absolutely critical for us to understand the importance of asking for help. Because I can tell you this, guys, God will put someone in your life to help you with the things you're going through. I can guarantee you that. God will put someone in your life to help you with the things you're struggling with. Because God doesn't want us to do it alone. But we still have to accept the help when it's offered to us. My challenge for you this week is very simple, and it's just that. If you're sitting here today and you're struggling with something, mind, body, spirit, anything in between, reach out for help. Understand that there are people here, there are people at home, there are people in your life who God will put there to help you with those problems, to help you get through those things because you don't have to go through them alone. And when they're there, accept the help. Because when we do that, we're stronger together. Let's pray.